And then the whole thing just kind of got okay.
We're not live.
I can see that.
Are you sure? Because it looks live to me.
Anyway, so I was saying, he came by and he says, "Listen, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what. I mean, I lost my mojo. I lost my job." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I was a magician, and now I can't pull off anything. I mean, I've lost my magic. I mean, what should I call myself?" And I just looked at him. I said, "Ian."
Well,
magician. Yeah, we got
I got it.
We got that's
I totally got it too.
That's the best one yet. Whew.
Can you text me the punch?
So I hit live and Joe's internet immediately takes a dump. Like he's all of a sudden like Peter in that episode of Family Guy where they insulted Fox.
That's not true.
You're better now.
Okay.
You had Baltimore internet for a minute.
You did. And T is perfect because he's not interacting with anybody. So
actually, I will say my internet lately has been like Baltimore internet. It's been going out on us at least 2 to 3 times a day, and that's just what I notice when I get home from work in that like 3 or 4 hour time span. So,
of course, when you mean by going out on us, I mean your internet just decides to go and go shopping and never wears a mask and just gets you in all kinds of trouble.
My internet does not wear a mask. No.
We got the virus.
There's your first problem right there. You should use a VPN and have a masked IP.
Aha! Are we sponsored by Surfshark?
That's your second best one yet.
Is Toy Mafia somebody that we have to put in jail all the time?
That's my knowledge.
All his comments are going to block, and he says F me for some reason.
I mean, I don't see any reason to block that. If he wants to go F himself, he's perfectly welcome to.
No, he's talking about me.
When I get that figure, the name will change. Just so you know, when I get that figure, the name will change.
Are you guys getting the comments?
I'm not.
Yeah, there's comments on YouTube, but not comments on our stream.
Oh.
Speaking of our stream,
oh yeah, there are people there, so perhaps we should say,
we're doing a stream.
Hello, peoples.
Pretty bad when we have to actually segue to start the actual show, which is what we're supposed to do.
What's even worse, we have to re-rail to get back to starting the show.
We're so far off. This will be the third attempt. Speaking of streaming, welcome everybody. It's Thursday night. Thank you for joining us. This is Figure Action coming at you live from the East Coast because that's where we are. There's 4 of us. There's not 5. Jordan will not be on tonight, but joining me.
We sent him pounding sand. No, really, he's at the beach.
No, we found him. Joe, welcome.
Hello. Nothing new for me this week. Nothing exciting going on. So that's it. How have you been?
That's so nice of you. I've been so good. I'm going to say True Star Screamer. How you doing?
Me? Oh,
you.
I am doing well. I am doing fantastic. I have some very cool news.
Oh, is this job news?
It is job news. Yes, I have received 2 out of 3. I have received 2 offers, and I actually am going tomorrow for a 3rd interview tomorrow. So no matter what happens, this time next week, I will be back to being a productive member of society. It feels so good.
Are these sealed bids? Like you get these in sealed bids and then
no, it's just
them all up and then make a decision? Or
I had 2 opportunities working in the auto industry, and of the 2 opportunities there, I know the one I'm going to go to. So, and then tomorrow I have an interview with something that's still in the outdoor furniture industry, which is what I've been doing the last 15 years. The caveat is, if I take that position, I will have to move. So all this will be gone, and I'll be having a whole new setup on there.
Sorry.
So a little bit of thinking will have to be done on that. But either way, there is light at the end of the tunnel. paychecks will be coming in, which is why I can start, throwing money out to the toy vendors, including Nate's Toys and Collectibles, official sponsor of the show. We can do things like that. And in celebration, I was able to get a few acquisitions of what I've been looking for. So as of right now, I am short 2 things that I want, but I was able to get my hands on the Doom Marauder. This thing is cool. I cannot wait to start photographing it. It definitely lived up to the hype. And right now, GameStop is currently doing a 20% off collectibles. So if you go to GameStop, you can get yourself some really good deals on figures. So I actually found him at GameStop. They were able to let me use my $5 off and double up with 20% off. So I got a very good deal on him. And then I got my hands on the Batman from the White Knight collection, which is cool. As of right now, in my hands, I still have to say I like the Arkham Knight Batman better than this one, though this is a decent Batman. But if you guys we'll talk about it later. But if you guys been paying attention to Instagram, McFarlane kicked his Batman game up big time. But this is still a neat design. If you've read Batman the White Knight, which I highly, highly, highly recommend, you'll definitely get some emotional attachment to this design. I just need to find that Azrael, which I may just have to get from T-Man's Amazon link, which I'm sure there's a link below for that. So that's the third one. I do want that Azrael. But I got good news, bad jokes, and beer. So life is good.
I got gas.
Tell us about it, T-Man 978.
Well, I ate a rotisserie chicken, and now I'm a little bit gassy.
You're supposed to take it off the rotisserie first.
Possibly. But life is good because I am... Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The whole chicken or a sandwich?
I think I ate half of a chicken.
I ate probably quarter one.
Did you eat the left half or the right half?
Oh,
The
dude.
right half. Oh.
I don't know.
But I'm good. I'm alive. Dave just reminded me that I did go to GameStop before I got here, and I picked up this guy finally.
Nice.
But it wasn't on that sale that it was cheaper than normal, but it wasn't as cheap as I thought it was gonna be. But cheap enough to the point where I won't be mad about the imperfections. Every single one of them have paint imperfections.
I think his entire upper body is an imperfection.
Okay, that was during the time when I could make fun of McFarlane figures. All right, that was my time I was allowed to hate McFarlane figures because that was that first growing pains phase. That now I'm stuck having to eat my freaking words on that. But that was not a good McFarlane figure.
Anyone else wish that McFarlane kind of goes back and does a redo of some of these early ones like Saitama and All Might?
Yes.
Oh, I remember that scene in the movie.
This isn't mine, but it's in my possession. It's the 01 Studio Cell. That's what I think his name is. But we know him as Unicron. If Hasbro Takar told me release this, it would be a Titan class. I think he weighs a little bit under what this guy weighs.
Man, you put in the work.
But his transformation isn't as horrible once you figure it out.
Do you mean to have him posed yawning?
He's eating Bumblebee.
Oh, okay, good. Phew. That was bored of the show.
Let's bring it down. I think Bumblebee might be able to fit in his belly. Let's find out.
What Bumblebee is that?
Yay! World's smallest Bumblebee. Only articulation it has is the head and the shoulders. But Bumblebee can fit in the stomach. Movie authentic. Get out of there. You're not gonna be able to see him,
Yeah, I could kind of see him.
but it
Little
is
bit.
tiny. He's like an inch tall. But let's put him back in the belly.
If he was
Later.
movie accurate, he'd be able to pop out of his eye.
But yeah, the head's not that big to be.
By the way, we know you totally ripped off that pose from TM Reviews
Whoopos.
of Bumblebee being chugged in. I know it. I know you ripped it off TM Reviews.
TM Reviews gave me that Bumblebee. I actually like this Batman, whether you read the story or not. It's awesome.
Oh, it is a good Batman. I'm just saying. Get the Arkham Knight one. Trust me, you're gonna be like, you'll be happy with that figure.
I want that one, but then I just saw the. Oh yeah, wait, yeah, Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
I was thinking Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, trust me, all those, they're all good. I mean, the Arkham Asylum one's good. The one that came with Joker is a good Batman. But yes, we know better things are coming.
I think I'm gonna wait for Arkham Knight. But I think I showed this last week. This is relevant to you, the title. But that's it. Parts Former.
Hi. I'm swell. I get to go on vacation on Saturday. So
Where are you
Ooh,
going?
good. We're going to the Ocean City. But it's the family trip and the extended family and the cousins and the uncles and
Did you see the
etc.
notification that popped up
Yes.
on Instagram? Well,
Yeah.
I didn't get to read it.
Oh, you can look at it, can't you? Backroom conversations. No, let me see. I got today. What did I get? So T-Man found for cheap and sent to me Zarya, who was quite thick, but pretty darn posable. I'm happy with her. And for $5, it's a good price. Let's see. What I've been waiting for from Hasbro Pulse, if anybody's got a Hasbro Pulse account and got the email about delayed shipping, you know, it was frustrating waiting for an order. So I ended up picking up from Hasbro Pulse Dustro. He's awesome.
I'm just waiting for Big Bad Toy Store to get theirs in.
He's awesome. I have on pre-order now the what do you call it? Prophet Director Destro. I might actually keep him because I love this mold and he looks pretty fun. The only issue I have with the one that I've got is like this belt's crazy sauce, man. It's all over the place. Like sometimes it gets caught in between. Sometimes you gotta pull it out. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Someone's background noise just cut out, so I thought I was all by my lonesome talking.
All by yourself.
And then Target sales got this dude on the cheap, the Fortnite Raven. So he's hard to see, but look, I think his eyes pop there.
Is that
He's
a
pretty-
Jazwares?
That is. Certainly is. And he's cool. Wish he could hold his weapons better. But he can't.
You know, if you need to, you can get some little rubber bands, I believe, and you can find a link to that on T-Man's page at the links below us.
I don't think it is. I don't think he's paid. I don't think he's paid for that yet.
Oh, okay.
So that's. I think that's it for me. Not uber exciting, but.
Night Wingham, I gave you a direct comment earlier about saying change my name to True Cobra Commander. I'm not ignoring you. It's just you haven't said anything proper to provoke me yet, dude. You haven't ticked me off yet.
Who are you talking to?
True
Nightwing,
Cobra Commander.
Night Wingham thought I was ignoring him.
Oh, I don't see that. I think we're like 10 minutes behind on the chat.
I think we are too because what time is it? 9:15.
The last chat I see is Nightwingham saying, "Welcome to the team, Andrew."
Now, is Andrew the guy who keeps falling asleep?
Yeah. He turns on our show, gets sleepy,
And
Well,
then
wait a
his
minute.
and then his fiance takes over.
I think you're describing 75% of our audience.
True, but
As long as
also,
they leave the stream on, we don't mind.
Andrew,
now
I
I
hope
see
you're
what you're
enjoying your tactical waistcoat. And tell your fiance we say hi.
Don't mention tactics waste. Why do they name it that? Tastic. I can't even say it.
They
That's so far away from Optimus.
What's wrong with Freedom Leader?
well, that's part of his slogan, so maybe they thought it was too close. I don't know.
Because Uncle Sam wears a tactical waistcoat. I don't know. I'm forcing it.
Maybe they're
Anyway,
thinking about the
no matter
Michael
what it's
Bay
called.
Prime. and
Citation
Freedom.
needed.
Yeah, I'm not getting one anyway, so.
Uh,
And I'm
You were
totally
going
not
to, though,
salty
weren't you?
about it. Yeah, I was gonna.
so, Matt,
Yes, Dave.
aside from so you're going to the beach. It's
I've got
gonna-
nothing
done.
further
We're,
to add.
we're done talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about it as this
We're-
much. So
We're having some serious dead air. So
I like this guy.
you said our esteemed guest is coming, correct?
yeah, from what I hear. So we'll see.
So just so you guys know, we've been hyping up an awesome guest for tonight. He is running a little behind time. So, but it's not like we don't have anything to talk about because a lot of cool things happened this week.
Yep.
Even better if you have a bot that lets you, buy things for you before anybody else can. So, should we just start ranting or should we start talking about the cool stuff?
How many people had the Baroness in their cart?
How many people walked away with the Baroness shipping from their cart?
I haven't even heard anybody talk about the fact that they got her. So it makes me wonder, did they even exist? Or was there some type of glitch?
I went on His Tank. I went on Toy Arc forums. I went on the social media postings forum. I didn't see one person that was bragging that they got her.
Is it
or anything?
Anything from Target, period. Every preview.
Yeah.
I think maybe somebody got 1 or 2 Cobra Troopers. That was about it.
You heard more than me.
Anything else, if you're trying to get something from Target this week, you were boned.
Oddly enough, they showed up in stores the same time. And somebody actually came out of there with a trooper. I seen him in the car with the trooper.
Okay, so we
No,
have
not the trooper,
Beachhead.
Roadblock.
Okay, because that means it's confirmed sightings of both Beachhead and Roadblock, but I haven't heard anybody see the Baroness or the troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen. I saw a picture with everybody on the show,
But
except the Baroness.
From the G.I. Joe Cobra Island group to the Storm. God, who is she paired with? A Storm Thunderbird 2-pack.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, if you wanted something from Target, I think no, you got yourself
I got Storm.
You got Storm.
Yeah, she was up for a while before it went away.
Yeah, I was freaking out of the house, but still.
Yeah, that wasn't.
It was way better than the Baroness.
And it
Baroness, it was 10 seconds.
This is happening? I mean, before we used to bitch when things sold out in like 5 minutes, then a minute, and now. Yes, it took the time to refresh the page, in stock, add to cart, pay this way, put in my number, error. I mean, what's that? 4.5, 5 seconds. That's.
I lasted longer my first time than being able to get something from Target this week.
And we can use that as the slogan for next week. Like Dave lasted longer than a Target sale. So.
You know what? I'll take it.
We're going to go with that.
Normally, the webpage will shut down for 30 minutes, and then an hour later, it'll come back out of stock.
But
this was like immediately.
Yeah, this is worse than the Walmart one. They actually drugged that out for half a day. But the Target one, man, no one seems to claim to have gotten it. I mean,
there's so many awesome things coming out. Go ahead, pull up Toy Arc.
And then, sure. But I wasn't even mad that they were giving away that you had to buy her with the coil bike. Like, I'm like, oh, they threw in this extra vehicle you have to buy. I don't care. It's all really cool. So
that bike was cool. I mean, that just so you know, we know who designed Baroness.
Are you flexing some muscle on who you know?
Well, we all know him. It was.
I know.
Yeah. But yes, so it was him. Same guy who designed Jean Grey. Same guy who designed Gambit. Same guy who's worked with Toy Biz. So, and he prides himself on doing the female figures. And I think Baroness, he really knocked that one out of the park.
And into all of the scalpers' open hands. Now, it is interesting too because the Target had this kind of epic collapse on the pre-orders on these things, and then NECA had a crappy week with trying to have. Was it NECA?
Yeah, no, NECA actually did a public statement about it.
Well, that's what I was leading to. Is that they, everyone, it's con season, exclusives are going up for sale, but I think they underestimate the scalpers or they underestimate the allure and drag of their own toy from a bunch of people that have nothing better to do than to sit at home and pre-order it. So, which is what's going on now, and I don't think they're ready for it.
I miss Storm collectibles too. I miss that Scorpion.
But even such to the point that NECA issued an apology and said that, due to the increase in bot usage, we're sorry. We want to make sure the right people get the right things that they want, and they're going to reissue the exclusives and have control measures on the website like CAPTCHA and slowing down the pages ping. So it's really cool that a company listens to the people like that because they made their money either way.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that they go back and can realize that the fans that really wanted it didn't get it and will now have to shell out probably 40 or 50% more increase in price, if not more.
I'm going to say this, though. Hasbro has nothing to blame for Target. That is all Target. So you get mad at the right people. Hasbro decided to use Target as an exclusive, but they didn't know that was going to happen.
Dave, Hasbro also uses Walmart as an exclusive, and that pisses me off too. So
that ticks me off. No, that ticks me off to no avail as well because, I mean, Hasbro has Pulse. They should be using Pulse, abusing Pulse for every privilege they have for it.
Except they probably get some kind of big dollar payout from the
retailers. Exactly. I mean, that's the big thing they get.
Why don't they just do it like they do when you buy movie tickets and you say, okay, I want 2 tickets, and it says
you
have 5 minutes to complete your transaction, but you're locked in.
Yeah.
Because then all of us that had her in the cart would have been sitting here saying, we got her.
Yeah. Or even if they just gave you a minute, you have 1 minute to complete your transaction, but you know that as long as you were able to put it in your cart,
it assigns inventory to it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying.
The good thing is we're probably going to get a single release Baroness because she didn't have the gold shoulder pads like on the box art.
Epaulette stuff.
I mean, you get with that Baroness, you still haven't found the pics yet, but you get the bike. You also get that weird coil gun, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, the Cobra, the snake arm attachment, and then you get 2 submachine guns with her as well.
I think they're attached to the bike.
Do they? So, I mean, that's a good deal. I couldn't argue, man, for the deal on that thing. The bike, the accessory. Money $40 for that was good.
They gave him a peg hole in the back. Like, why?
Because I don't know if you saw the second version of him had a cape.
It was probably permanently attached, though.
But through that hole.
But it plugged it in the hole.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you force it in the hole as hard as you can eventually plug it up, so it won't fall out.
Oh, hello.
So what are we looking at here, Joe?
I don't know. Someone told me to go to Toy Ark. What am I looking for?
Oh, yeah, these turtles sold out immediately.
Yeah, the turtles sold out. I was trying to find that G.I. Joe Baroness picture.
Yeah. Can you go, Joe?
Baroness.
Wouldn't that be nice?
She doesn't fight for freedom wherever there's trouble.
I like that.
There.
Stay on task, Joe.
I like that a lot.
Even the Cobra Trooper, man, I thought that looked really good.
We might as well stop on that. Stop on that. The McFarlane.
He's outright fucking refusing to.
Oh, these guys.
Marty.
I don't like that doc. I mean, I think it looks okay, but something about their choices, man. that look, that face.
I think they have erased this Baroness from existence, Dave.
No, she was too
No,
many
just
days
so much
ago.
stuff came out. So much stuff has come out.
We see a lot of stuff we're going to talk about.
I'm excited about this.
If only you could get them.
Yeah, I won't be.
Them in the Super Shredder.
I will tell you, Casey has not shown up in North Carolina, but he's probably sold out, kind of like Spawn was. Still haven't seen that Spawn with the axe down here.
I've never seen a Spawn in store, period.
Man, someone should have just put this as a link in the doc and been
Or
prepared.
you could just go to the search criteria
Search feature.
and just search G.I. Joe or Baron Ass.
Or, also you
Like-
can try to maybe his
like
tank.
bear in ass like that.
Yeah, but go to Pornhub first. Go to T's website. Third
I
video.
don't even want to know. Don't even want to know what would come up.
Okay, just so you know, I know you're not reading the chat, but apparently Mike went live on Twitch.
All part of the plan.
Is this it right here?
Yes, there you go. There we go. That is
Sold out.
Yeah, we know that.
Thanks for the breaking news, pal.
Well, if Mike doesn't show up,
Oh, here we go. There's a big
we
one.
got shit to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for showing up. I see the usual people in the chat.
We always do. They're good. They're good, solid folk. The homie sort, doesn't
But
get out.
those guns look awesome. That coil, that snake coil thing looks pretty freaking cool. And is that a helmeted head?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. How about that?
When I was messing with my Scarlett on the bike that I had her on, I was like, you know what? If she had a helmet, this would be a little bit better. And then they actually thought about that.
The only thing that would have been cool would be a helmet that actually had hair coming out the back.
Well, this is more useful now for fodder for other things without the hair.
Maybe she stuffs the hair into the helmet.
Sure.
So when she takes it off and she shakes her head, it
Yeah.
cascades down in a manner that only get Matt's attention properly.
Yeah, it had it. What is that right below the helmet? Is that a knife?
That looks like a.
Enhance.
If I had to guess, I would say that is a Cobra issue umbrella.
Enhance.
You should have said ballpoint pen.
A ball. It's a big ballpoint. It could be a Cobra
It's
issue.
a large feathered pen.
It's a ball
Pleasure
python
stick?
point pen.
So, I mean, the motorcycle looks cool. Baroness looks cool. T's right though. This thing it's going to have to be a single release at some point because that'd be ludicrous if this is the only way to get her. But be that as it may, we know that Cobra Troopers are going to be available in mass because they're army builders. Everybody's probably going to buy at least two.
Mhm.
They would never do that stormtrooper fiasco ever again.
Yeah, but hopefully they'd learn from it.
I heard that there's more more troopers than anything else in the sightings.
Yes. Was there ever sold a generic G.I. Joe trooper? Like a generic Joe?
I think there was, but I mean,
Yeah.
it really wasn't. I mean, G.I. Joe themselves had enough of a cast.
I
Yeah.
feel like all of them had a name. Like even if they were just somebody that came with a bike that looked like a generic Joe, he had some type of name like Wrench or something. Monkey Wrench.
No, Monkey Wrench was one of the dreadnoughts.
Oh.
Just saying, he was.
So-
There were some overlap with Transformers names and G.I. Joe names, wasn't there?
So what is this?
No.
First Aid.
There
No,
wasn't.
Lifeline. That's what I'm thinking about. Lifeline.
Yeah, Lifeline.
Lifeline and First Aid are two different people.
Oh, ironically, they were both pacifists. Not ironically.
Yes,
Both
I
were
hated that in the cartoon. I'm like, this
I'm
is,
in the
I
army, and
want-
I'm never gonna. I'm in the army, and I'm never gonna touch a gun.
Right.
T wanted
then-
it if he wanted them shooting, man. He's like, if you're not
Right.
healing sick,
Oh,
you're
you
shooting
know I was
somebody.
mad because the first
Boy.
G.I. Joe my grandmother ever got me was Lifeline, and it came with a Cobra. And Lifeline came with a gun. So I was
Yes.
like, that made me pumped about seeing him on the cartoon. And then when I saw him on the cartoon, Oh, I don't want to do violence. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, he came with a pistol that fit in his medical bag. I remember that figure.
And then Witchcom, First Aid left to protect the bot to not have an arm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Even Defensor's like, dude, I wish First Aid was here.
And then we have Andrew here with this is how Cobra will take over the world with their practical weapons.
You know what? When you have a laser shooting snake, no one will pick it up by mistake.
I believe we talked about this.
That was a rhyme.
Joe was absent.
Well, Joe's here now, and I'm sure he wants to add his 2 cents. We did talk about this last week, Joe, but go
I
for it.
actually just pulled this up because it was on the doc. So
Your doc hasn't updated then. That was from last week.
That was last week's doc.
I was actually going to say, if you could go back to Toy Arc, we could talk about that Motaro.
So you did the Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
Yeah.
You did Mastermind Creations.
Yep.
You did X-Men.
Joe, you could read off that whole day.
Or you can just watch last week's episode.
Well,
That's a lot of work.
why would I do that? All right. So we don't have a doc? You want me to just go back to
the doc was for other purposes that may or may not happen.
Okay. So we're just going to do Toy Arc review.
Well, there's a couple of things you scrolled past that I think we want to talk about.
We should just rename tonight's episode. This was major false advertisement.
Yeah, you know what? I agree.
You know whose fault this is?
Someone with pink hair?
I was going to say somebody that's always wearing a cap.
Oh, thank God! I didn't want to wear my hat.
No, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. I was actually going to blame Boo Boo. They probably sent that dude an email saying, if you want to join this show, you're going to have to pay us an extra $66 in shipping costs before you can log in.
For those of you who have no clue what's going on, which is probably everybody, poor Joe here was charged an additional shipping fee for a figure that he paid for in full in advance.
Bring up your PayPal. We'll show him.
So he should be getting this figure.
Yeah, here, let me just show you my password. Yeah, no, I will admit they had a really fair price. The deluxe version of Fantastics waistcoats, and it was only $165, which is why I didn't cancel it originally. And then they say, I see people online posting pictures of it, so I'm like, I emailed them and I said, hey, what's going on? When is this going to ship? And they're like, due to the excessive weight of this item, because it comes with these 2 extra guns and has batteries in it, it weighs so much, and we have to ship it in 2 packages.
It takes 2 guys to take it over to the.
We need $66, and I'm like, wouldn't you have known all this when you made the listing? Like, hey, this is what we want to sell it for, and we're going to offer free shipping. Not, all of a sudden, it weighs a lot. Oh, there's a person. So,
Witchcom Unicron, the sellers committed to their $200 40 price. They didn't charge people $400 all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was people charging prices that they could.
Yeah,
I think $240 for me. $240 would be an awesome price because, like I was saying,
so
if this was an official Hasbro product, it would be a Titan class. But the plastic is better than Titan, and it comes with a lot of stuff.
I'm
going to close this out, and Matt, you can introduce our guest.
But Joe, you do know what the lesson
tonight is.
Joe, you do know
special broadcast for you tonight.
Oh, we got an audio.
Tonight.
Hello.
What's up, boys?
Hey.
How's it going? Hello. Check.
Go.
That's some echo here. Hold on.
A little low.
What's up, boys? Hey. How's it
Hi.
going?
It's going well.
That's some echo.
Do you have a headset? Plugged into that helmet. In that helmet, is there a headset?
There's no headset in the helmet.
Oh, that's better. We hear it that time.
Okay.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I think we can
still have
still
some
hear
background.
ourselves.
Some
My
background audio.
dialogue is so nice, I am hearing it twice.
Hello, hello. That might be better. I quit.
Yep, there we go. I can hear
there
you.
we are.
Oh, tight. So not only is this a special event, today is the first day of San Diego Comic-Con, and we are actually live on my live stream at the moment. Hashtag Rec Agent.
So you are
Hi.
you're dual streaming.
What's up, guys?
What is up,
Hey,
man?
man. Thanks for joining our show.
Don't cross the streams.
This is
Or are we crossing the streams?
the Toy Action Podcast happening live, right? Did I get it
Figure
right?
Action Podcast. Figure Action Podcast.
Figure Action Podcast. Okay, true.
So
So how's it? What are you guys up to?
We were talking about new releases coming out.
New
Awesome.
releases.
Well, let's take a second. Why don't you introduce yourself to our stream?
My name is Rec Agent. Some people might know me as Mike DeCamp, aka Rec Agent, the showrunner for the Fortnite line, and a long-standing action figure collector, and basically all-around nerd. So thank you so much for having me.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you for coming on. Very good. So what do you got going on your side of the screen, on your stream?
Well, let's get a background on the helmet. Is that helmet of any significant relation to a particular product line that you work on?
Yeah, so this is the Rust Lord cosplay that I prepared. My girlfriend and I, Melissa, made the helmet. If you guys are familiar with who Rust Lord is in the Fortnite ecosystem, he's basically Star-Lord with a helmet on. And I'm a huge fan of the MCU. I'm a huge fan, of course, of Chris Pratt and Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. So I've been a cosplayer for most of my adult life, and with San Diego Comic-Con kind of popping off right now, I thought this might be a fun little surprise to throw in and surprise the guests with. And I don't think my stream saw this coming either, so I do a live stream that's focused around Fortnite and action figure culture in general, and the two times kind of coincided. So I hope you guys do appreciate the surprise, and I do appreciate the opportunity to be here. So thank you so much for giving me that.
Very cool.
No problem. And we actually have the link to your stream down in our description. So click that after you're finished hearing with his. If you already know, get to his. But
Definitely. We're happy you're here. I have a bunch of these things.
Oh, look at the Leviathan! Yo,
Yeah,
thank you so much for the support, dude. What else you got there? You got Tempest. Who's the guy on the right?
Havoc.
Havoc. Oh man, Firefly.
Yeah.
Oh, Round Raider too. Yo, thank you. You guys are already the shit. Like, oh, we got in package too. Yo, I feel you.
Well, we got that.
We got the Visitor. Who's that? That was Visitor.
And then I actually have been using, my favorite is I got 2 wild cards, and I've been using that with Raven and the Destroyer as my Royal Flush Tank for my photography.
Yeah, I have a headless wild card. I don't know where his head went.
The Royal
I put Saitama's head on him for a little while, and I don't even know where that head is.
The beauty of this line is some of the interchangeability that you find there, right? So the 4-inch stuff is very, very easy without boiling to kind of pop apart, head swap, the torsos, the hips, everything kind of comes apart in some neat little parcels. And I think we're really proud of that, like the interchangeability. And that's not something that's like very public forward facing. That's something that's a little bit of an Easter egg for the fans. So,
I got, the 4-inch line, I mean, I don't collect that scale just because it doesn't work for my photography, but every time I go by there, it blows me away of how much love is put into that, from the accessory count to the detail to the articulation. It reminds me of some of the Bandai SIC figure lines. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. the KT series specifically, KTSIC,
Yeah.
and I sat there and I'm like, if I get this, I won't have any space in my display shelves for it. But it is absolutely, I think, it is a line that people, I think, doesn't get enough notoriety in the collector community, just of what you can do with it.
That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you so much. And to know that you guys are part of the action figure photography culture is exactly why I hope that this is going to pop off, and I hope that I can support and add some value to your community.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm happy to find out that the line didn't just die off. It seemed like for a few months there were no new figures, and then bam, we got new ones out of nowhere.
Explosive over the last since about Wednesday of last week. So going on a week, we had a period of the COVID deficit that you might call it, and then we've had all of a sudden the big light switch, the big Doc Brown moment, where not only do we have new 6-inch figures that hit first, but we have new 4-inch figures that followed very closely, and now you have new vending machines, new vehicles, everything kind of coming out in very quick succession. And the support has been tremendous. I mean,
oh no.
When it comes to the action figure culture and fans dealing in things like DCPI numbers and SKU numbers and replenishment and the overarching desire in a more competitive climate than ever before, right? So we have 3.7 Joes hitting, we have the Classified series hitting, we have the McFarlane stuff. So a guy like me and Jazwares as a company, just to be in the same sentence with some of those names and some of those companies, to us is massive. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Right. Like I have this guy holding Jonesy's gun.
Yeah. What is the relationship though with the Jazwares and the McFarlane, since you guys both have the license? You know, like I said, your Drift figure just came out. That was one of McFarlane's for, I think that was their second wave line. I mean, how is do you guys have okay, you can do this figure this quarter and you guys can do this figure this quarter, and then all of a sudden, for example, you guys both had a Peely come out.
Yeah, it's all love. It really is. And that's the thing that I think Epic Games and Fortnite is best at, is bridging gaps and bringing people together. I would say that Fortnite, more than anything else, is a social media. It's a platform that brings audiences together. I mean, they do this thing called Party Royale, where they've shown movie trailers. They've had live experiences. They've even gone as far as having Travis Scott perform for their audience. So
yeah, I saw that.
McFarlane has what you would call the adult collectibles, the premium action figure business, and their Peely, for instance, like you brought up, totally reflects that. It's a 7-inch scale. It has, I think they call it 23 moving parts, which is unique because they're not calling out articulation, they're actually calling out the in-between parts, which is different for action figure culture. So our Peely, for instance, has, I think, 34 articulated points, and the McFarlane piece has a really unique flexible PVC skin over the body of the action figure. It's incredible. It's incredible, and it's all love at the end of the day. We have, I would call our unique feature is the interchangeable faceplates to the character that celebrates the expressiveness of the figures, and that's something that we gleaned from the Japanese figure culture and the
Right.
figure arts and the Bandais, like you so eloquently pointed out. So
I'm eloquent.
Within the community, you have a desire for, if you look in the swoosh and you look in the forums and we're really deep, you have people that are collecting every aspect of the line. They would call the McFarlane 7-inch pieces bruisers, and then they would have our 6-inch in multiples, and it's like a bunch of bananas, and there's room for everybody, you know.
I've seen that with wild card, like both McFarlane's wild cards and like 4 of the Jazwares.
Yeah, so
I like when I found out Drift's face was removable, and I put Jonesy's face on there.
dude, you nailed it, 100%. Like the interchangeable faces all sharing kind of the same engineering that allows for you to face swap those pieces. And Jonesy, like when you look at video game models as a whole, and if you look at Fortnite in particular, when the fans got really up in the face of the characters, like Rust Lord notwithstanding, they would see that Jonesy was what they would call the base model, the 3D model for all of those extended likenesses. Now, as Fortnite has gained success, the models have become a lot more individual, and the likenesses have become a little bit more sparse. But that overarching strategy for us is extremely important. So recently, like we had Fish Stick drop, and the feedback and the traction of Fish Stick has been like tremendous, but you could potentially add the Fish Stick face to the archetype body or to the Jonesy body, and it just becomes this silly sandbox that Fortnite is organically.
Yeah, somebody asked me to review the Fish Stick on my personal channel, but I haven't picked him up yet.
He sold out very quickly. He was one of the San Diego Comic-Con product focuses that we had, and he actually sold out before that San Diego Comic-Con at home activation went live. So we very quickly had to pivot into something different because the scarcity of that piece. I think they have some resellers out there at the moment that are selling him for like upward of $60.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's you couldn't ask for a better opportunity with an action figure company than we've been granted with Fortnite. So.
Now, do you actually work on the actual design of the figures, like how their parts work and move and all that?
Yeah, 100%. So when you're looking at the aesthetics of the figures in particular, we were gifted by some relationships that were a legacy, the hand of a gentleman by the name of Dave Cortez. And Dave Cortez, if you guys, and I'm sure you are well aware of the Toy Biz Marvel Legends stuff, there were only like a select few sculptors that impacted that line, and that was like Dave Cortez, Phil Ramirez, like a lot of that stuff was painted by the late great Eddie Wires. And Dave Cortez actually does the sculpts for every single character that you see within our line. So the 4-inch, the 6-inch, all of that stuff comes from him. The 12-inch is something that we do kind of like as a capsule that exists outside of that ecosystem. But when it comes to the articulation and the features and everything, that's pretty much a small brain trust of a gentleman by the name of George Borges, a gentleman by the name of Tom, I'm losing it, and Dave Cortez in particular, and myself. So we do have a very gifted and talented pool of designers and lead designers and everybody who kind of guide the approvals process and the very specifics. But when it comes to things like the benchmark of 40 points of articulation on the line, and that comes directly from yours truly. So.
I was wondering, like, are there, I don't know how it works with all the toy companies and whatnot. Like, I know certain things are trademarked and whatnot. Like, are there rules on how you can actually make articulation? Like, I know that you use like a hinge system in the legs and not like ball joints and whatnot. Are there like certain designs you can't use because another company is using it, or is it not really that strict?
It's pretty strict when it comes to
Good.
proprietary engineering. You
Mhm.
definitely have to pay attention to things like patented or articulation.
Okay.
But I would say that we are probably the most invested in action figures for preserving the legacy of things like the 6-inch Marvel Legends legacy. So we get a lot of positive and negative feedback for things that we do, like articulated fingers, a toe articulation, but ultimately it's a work in progress. And what we want to do is preserve the overarching appreciation for articulation and fine design and engineering in a mass market realm. So you have like more specific companies like Good Smile, for instance, that rewrite the rule book when it comes to articulation and plastic combinations and things like that. And we are, I would say, hypersensitive to the trends and also very steadfast in our belief for uniqueness and individuality. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I definitely had a question about the hands. Like you said, you hear the feedback. I like the opening hands for like gestury poses when they're not holding the weapons and whatnot, but they definitely have a difficulty holding the weapons. Is there like any plans, or have you guys talked about maybe putting in swappable static hands that just stay in the gun pose or weapon holding pose?
Absolutely. When it comes to what we refer to as reliability, that is the utmost concern for us. And we've introduced some very different types of weapons. And when you look at the level of quality that we invest in our weapons when it comes to paint operations, sculpted detail, we have a series that we did that are accessory packs for the 6-inch figures that are called the legendary loadouts, where the rockets actually fire, the grappler is translucent and has the spring activated. So for us, that is the most important, but at the same time, for us, it is the biggest challenge when it comes to fit and it comes to reliability again. So it's I would say it's a work in progress, but we are hyper aware of the feedback, and it's the main thing that keeps me up late at night wondering about whether I did the best that I could or not.
I definitely like the weapons. The amount of paint that you guys have on there in detail, and like the amount of accessories in the package for only $20 has been amazing to me.
Yeah, it's good value.
Thank you for noticing. And
Nicest pistols I've seen. Period.
Thank you so much. With some of the most recent figures like Eternal Voyager, X-Lord, who's kind of the evolution of the Rust Lord character, it is extremely important to us to make sure that we outdo ourselves. But at the same time, there's also a challenge built into that to understand the fit, the appropriateness, the value that comes in for ultimately maintaining a $19.99 price point.
I didn't know about the weapons packs that work with the 6-inch figures. What are they called again?
Legendary loadouts. So that was something that we introduced more as an experiment. So of course, you guys and myself probably were all products of the 80s and 90s, and lines like not only just G.I. Joe and Star Wars, but ancillary lines like Eagle Force or Action Force and all these different types of brands, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, had supplementary weapons that were universally available for the characters. And in a game like Fortnite, for instance, the weapons are actually as noteworthy and famous as the characters themselves. So if you look at a legendary scar or a pump shotgun, and all these things that are more or less synonymous with the game, we needed a vehicle to incorporate those into the line. So with the legendary loadout, for instance, you have the grappler, that's basically a plunger gun, and that has to have a unique edge to it. It has to be aged up in a way that's appropriate for adult collectors, but also friendly to younger fans.
You know, I saw that on your Instagram. I didn't realize that was an actual product. I thought it was something somebody custom made. I didn't know it was an actual product that I could actually get.
Well, the challenge that we have as a company is the fact that Fortnite is a game that introduces newness on a very rapid schedule. And we have to lockstep or kind of supersede that newness with product on the shelves. So when it came to the legendary loadout in particular, it was an instance where we had like, not every retail buyer understands the value of those weapons and the noteworthy nature of those particular weapons. So they were only initially accepted by, let's say, Smiths in the UK. So through my efforts with like growing this presence and this community that we're like focused on creating, curating here, I didn't even have samples of those. It was members of my own community that found somebody in the UK, negotiated some type of deal, and then shipped those directly to me with the sign that you can see up over here over my shoulder. And it's one of those things that like you will have those available to the mass market in one way or another eventually, because it's tooling that we own. It's something that we've developed in very close collaboration with Epic Games and Fortnite creators and stuff. But when it comes to having a conversation with a buyer, it's one of those out of the box conversations that doesn't exactly happen every day.
So since you guys, we've talked about the parallels between you and the McFarlane line. You know, McFarlane also did the ATV vehicle. They also did the dragons and such. Is anything like that in the possible future?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And they did a tremendous job. I mean, when it comes to a 6-inch line, or in McFarlane's case, a 7-inch line, introducing vehicles is an extreme challenge. And doing things as ambitious as Frostwing, for instance, or I think they showed the X4 biplane during Toy Fair. That's kind of never happened before. I mean, at the moment, during the current climate, we have like Hasbro doing the Snowspeeder in 6-inch, or previously doing the TIE Fighter in 6-inch. Well, that was never a conversation before 2018 or 2019. And now they're launching with things that is like the Baroness and the motorcycle. And
If you got her.
some other vehicles coming in the 6-inch realm. So challenge accepted, you know?
Now, do you just work with the Fortnite line?
Yeah, basically, I'm exclusive, or I've been exclusive to the Fortnite line over the course of, like, let's say the last 3 years.
Okay, just I'm in my own geekdomness. It really perked my ears out when I heard that Jazwares was doing the AEW line. So I was just curious if you had any hands-on with that. So
I have not actually.
Okay, cool.
The Wicked Cool guys have this legacy within the wrestling figure ecosystem, and they have amazing talent behind those lines, and they basically don't hold back. They call out all the stops when it comes to like the San Diego Comic-Con, what is it? A little bit of the bubbly. They have accessory packs that feature folding chairs and breakaway tables and all that stuff. And for me, that is raising the bar of expectation and my underlying ambition for something like Fortnite as a boys action brand.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. That's another question now that you said boys. Are there going to be any more, if you can talk about it, female characters? The only one I can think of is Valkyrie for the 6-inch line.
Yeah. Yeah, like no.
Well, actually, I was going to ask about the female astronaut. I believe it's Moonwalker.
Yeah. So when it comes to a game like Fortnite, the female outfits are generally the more popular outfits because of their overall what we call hitbox. Like it's the size of the character versus a character like Meowscles or Peely, who popped off because of their memeable qualities. As of today, we had the Target exclusive 4-pack kit, for instance, that was featuring King Flamingo and some other characters. But within that 4-pack, you have 2 female characters. You have the Elite Agent, and you have Prickly Patroller, who's basically like a cactus. So for us, it's a major initiative to make sure that female action figures are a presence in the line and supported by the community. Within the first 13 figures that we launched, we had, I think, 3 or 4 different female action figures, and I'm extremely proud of that.
I'm just happy to see double jointed elbows on a female figure. That just made me very happy.
Yes.
It can be done.
Valkyrie figure, for instance, is one of my favorite, not only like character archetypes, because she's just like extremely badass, she's like edgy, but yeah, like the opportunity to add double pin elbows where other people tend to do more like insert molded single pins.
Right.
Those are the nuances that I'm really glad that you guys pick up on.
So Fortnite does those occasional events, like when Infinity War happened, Thanos was running rampant in it.
Deadpool,
and such.
Aquaman.
Are you able to use that as a way to skirt a license at all?
Well, it's an evolving conversation. The very first opportunity that we've had that actually came to fruition was the Travis Scott integration. And if you guys saw that, it was their biggest activation when it came to like a pop culture initiative.
Yeah.
And they approached us as a partner to say like, we have 2 weeks to execute this, and we were able to jump on it. The teams all worked around the clock. They continued to work around the clock to make it happen. And Fortnite as a brand has begun to rewrite the rule books when it comes to like the licensing and integration, brand integration, IPs, and that stuff. So I would expect there's more to come, but I really can't comment on which ones.
Very cool, very cool. No, it's just cool knowing that. I mean, I remember when Fortnite came out, it not the Battle Royale, but when it was like almost like a Minecraft clone in a way of get the stuff, craft it, the zombies come out at night.
Yeah.
And then the Battle Royale happened, and it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, that game, let's just forget about that. Which pretty much happened.
Yeah, you know, the Save the World game and Fortnite, I think, as an extension of that, from my experience, was like this. And Epic Games has the unique position to own what they call an engine. So games like PUBG and a whole host and bevy of other games are developed by using the Epic Games engine. And in my experience is that Fortnite was basically this place on the side that they said like, okay, let's try this out, and this happened, and let's try that out, and that happened. And all of a sudden they looked over here and they're like, holy crap, here's this thing that is like all these different things. It's Minecraft combined with first-person shooters, and it's got a little bit of GoldenEye in it. And it's this platform where they can tell these ever-changing, evolving stories, and they were like, okay, that's the thing, you know? Which as a toy developer is kind of like the dream.
So is there a Travis Knight figure?
Is there what? Sorry.
Travis Knight figure? Oh, Travis Scott. Sorry.
Yeah, so we did a 2-pack of figures that were released on Travis Scott's what they call like the drop, like his store that he turns on for a very limited amount of time. And we developed 2 12-inch figures, one being the T-3500, which looks pretty much just like Travis Scott and the Terminator kind of all thrown together, and the sicko mode, which is like the astronaut version of that with like a roller coaster that goes around his head and all these different things.
Very cool.
So let me ask you this then: where, how did you get where you're at? I mean, because you're in a position right now, I think, where a lot of people that collectors in the community would say, you know, that sounds like a really awesome job to have. So, how does one make it to that position?
You know, if you see me on Instagram, more often than not, the hashtag that I lean into is the luckiest kid. And it's really the long and short of the story. So I grew up a product of the 90s, and I wanted to be a comic book artist more than anything else in the world. I was granted a scholarship for my fine art capabilities to a school in Miami that's called New World College of Art. And there's basically very little future or success in fine art. So I very quickly reassessed my potential, and I went to school for a more practical major that was animation.
Okay.
I went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, and at the moment they didn't have a traditional animation program. They had like a computer-generated program, they had an illustration program, so I more or less rode the middle of those different majors. And if you look at on paper, I'm actually an art history major. But during my time in the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, I became fast friends with a gentleman by the name of Jesse DeStasio. And if you know Jesse's work, at the moment he has a line that is his own. It's called Knights of the Slice. He has a thing that he does called Action Figure of the Month. But in our youth, he's kind of this big idea guy. And at the time, I was the guy that could draw basically anything. And before the world of like AutoCAD and Maya and 3D Studio Max, he would have an idea for something, and I would draw the front, the back, the side, the top, the bottom, the exploded. And if you look at Jazwares as a company, the Jazwares name comes from my boss and my closest mentor, Judd Allen Zbursky, J-A-Z, and Wares, which stands for housewares. So Judd has a background as a lawyer. And at a certain point in his life, he said, you know what, I want to do something that's not litigious. I want to do something that makes people happy. He was having children at the time, like he was finding his own way. And he decided that he's going to go to China and figure out how to make toys and how to make things to make people happy. So the very first opportunity that he had was to, and he's the inventor of, if you guys have ever seen like a sippy cup with a straw that's kind of stuck in the head of the thing. Mm-hmm. So that's his thing. And at very first, he was doing things like the WNBA, the Major League Baseball mascots and things like that. But at a certain point, he said, well, there's this thing called Pokemon, and I can do characters like Pikachu and Meowth, and we'll blow mold them, we'll put a straw in their head. And at some point, a toy buyer said, well, here's Pikachu, and it's like a $10.99 thing. Let's put that in a toy aisle. And overnight, Jazwares became a toy company. And very quickly after that, they found Jesse, who very quickly after that found myself, and they got into like Capcom and Midway with Mortal Kombat and Geneon and quite a few other licenses. So I had the benefit of being the guy that could draw all these different crazy things in extreme detail and provide some value to the company and work with sculptors in Asia, etc. And it kind of happened from there. So I've been with Jazwares since 1999. The company was founded in 1997, and I haven't worked a day since, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'll bet. Let me see.
So, I mean, like recently, Jesse did a partnership with Acid Rain. And if you guys know the Acid Rain stuff, it's like way up there when it comes to super articulation and 4-inch or 3.75-inch figures. And there's no limit to his ideas and his talent and all those things, and I owe it all to him.
Very cool.
Thanks for asking. That's a great question. You know, it's something that I don't get to talk about a whole lot, but at the same time, like I could talk about it for hours and hours.
Well, because I sit there and think like, how does someone get into that position? Because I'm sure it's like, everybody sitting in this collector's world at one point wanted to be a part of design or implementation of these things somehow. So it's just interesting to hear how one would go, someone that actually made it, got there.
100%. And again, I look at it as like, I'm basically the luckiest kid, I had a very limited success, and at the time, during like the late 90s, comic book artists were probably one of the most competitive fields. Jim Lee and Will Tasio and Rob Liefeld had defected from Marvel proper to start Image Comics. And I wanted to be a part of something like that. And I just sat there and I sharpened my pencil and I tried to be the best that I could be. And I had some very minimal success. But at the same time, I was a toy collector, like hardcore. And I didn't even know it. Like the Playmates Ninja Turtles, there was these weird things like the Barnyard Commandos and Food Fighters and the Centurions and all these weird things that I was trying to get from Japan, like Transformers and all this different stuff. So I definitely lucked out. But if somebody wants to be there, I would encourage them to follow their passion and just not give up. And when there's an opportunity, try and make the most of that opportunity with everything they have.
Shoot, man.
I mean, you've been there since '99.
Yeah. So the company started in 1997. There's one other employee who was there pretty much since day one of 1997. But beyond that, I am probably the second most longest standing employee.
Cool.
So
it's amazing.
Let me cycle right back to the Fortnite figures real quick. For you personally, did you find any of them that were either A, particularly challenging, and then B, one that you can say you're particularly proud of the line?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. The most challenging bits are probably the more mundane characters, because the ones with the most uniqueness and flair kind of are very well defined. But the character who embodies, I think, the game in particular, his name is Jonesy. Mm-hmm. And through very close collaboration and a friendship with some of the brain trust at Epic Games, you can draw this parallel that's like G.I. Joe, G.I. Jonesy, Jonesy. And if you look at him as a particular, he's almost like a Duke-inspired character. that has these little bits of nuance. And when it comes to the overall aesthetic of Fortnite as a game, it's almost as well defined as, let's say, a Pixar character or Disney character. Or they have a very subtle stylization that gives the game ultimately the legs that I think it has. So being faithful to that is not only like my greatest impetus, but also all of the lead designers, junior designers, packaging designers, and everybody that's involved in this revolutionary kind of voice action property.
Okay. So as far as the figures go, though, let me ask you, do you guys feel the crunch of budgetary restrictions per figure, or like the, whatever kind of budget you have to adhere to? Is that something you always bump up against, or you've done it so long you kind of got it figured out?
We've had the benefit of kind of figuring those things out ahead of time. So
okay.
That's where it started as, and we probably own the niche of video game-based action figures. And we've definitely taken our lumps when it comes to, like, for instance, with Street Fighter, very early on, we had the mass market license through Capcom for Street Fighter action figures. But at the same time, you had a company that was called Soda Toys by Jerry McAleese. And that is like, they were the most premium, most gorgeous, super articulated figures that you could ever wish for. And Storm Collectibles has done a tremendous job of reinvigorating that as a license and as a property and as a vehicle for tremendous action figures. But back in the day, Jesse DeStasia, who I mentioned, had a really great working relationship with Jerry Macaluso, who was the owner and founder of Soda. So very early on, I was exposed to the overarching collaboration between toy companies, and to the extent where Soda Toys kind of shared their models and their molds with us to then reassess and make friendly to the mass market, which was something to me that I couldn't understand, because that's like saying, hey, DC Comics is going to take Wolverine and make him adapted to their ecosystem, whether or not like he's clearly defined as a Marvel character,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't hear much about collaboration like that. It doesn't happen very often.
I was hearing something about when Hasbro was announcing G.I. Joe Classified. They were saying that they were teaming up with Jazwares for weapons, and I'm still not sure what that means.
Well, we actually are a partner of Hasbro on many different fronts. So if you look at the Nerf business, for instance, Jazwares is a sub-licensee of Nerf, and we make the vests, we make the bandoliers, we make all the accessories that live outside of blasters. And we actually we were the premier partner for Peppa Pig from E1, and since then Hasbro has stepped in and become the toy partner with E1 on Peppa Pig, but we still have a very free working relationship with them.
Wait! You brought Peppa Pig into my house.
Yeah, like I love.
Yeah. So from age 2.5 to age 5 with my little girl over there. You and I need we need to have a talk. No, I'm kidding.
Dave, you started with the show, man. You can't. They just gave the plastic stuff.
If you knew how many of those freaking toys I had to buy.
Yeah, seriously, and they allowed us to be really inventive and unique, because we did things like the transforming camper van or the school like expanding playset and all these different things. So
dodged a bullet. Got the camper van.
Got the toys is a very small world, and I feel like we're all looking out for each other and our best interests in the longevity of the IP much more so than the particulars of a toy line.
That's good.
Well, speaking of IPs, just a question from the chat. If there was, what line would you ever want to do? If you could pick any IP, your kind of dream.
Well, I have never had the ability or the opportunity to make a Batman action figure. And it pains me to this day. When I was very young, I was super into Mego as something that I just blew my mind, because they did things like the world's greatest, and they had soft goods, and they had a combination of like the roto heads, ABS bodies. They had all this different articulation that I didn't understand was a feature at that point. And it might have been for like my 5th or my 6th birthday. I was given what they call the 12-inch magnetic Batman and Robin with flyaway action. And they're amazing toys. They had magnets in their feet and in their hands. And I got these things. They had this amazing packaging that had like this kind of like 3D without the glasses. Like here's a staggered image of this thing. And it was all this really unique technology. And I had them for one day. And in that day, I took them to the playground. I stuck them on the top of the monkey bars, and I played with them. And at a certain time, the street lights came on. My mom leaned out the window. She's like, "Mike, get your ass home." And I ran home, and I left them there. You know, after that day, they were gone. I actually, sadly, I actually played with the packaging so much. And someday, somehow, I would love to sink my teeth into the opportunity to do a Batman and Robin action.
Think of that story from the flip side, though. That evening or that morning, some kid wandered in and found those figures and thought it was the best day ever, and maybe that set them on their positive path in life. So there you go.
His name was Greg Capello because he found a posable Batman for him to draw.
Or alternatively, some
was like as transformative as Todd was to Spider-Man. 100.
More likely a 35-year-old sweaty, one of us.
Grab them all.
Hey, look at these sweet action figures.
And maybe more than anything else, that set me on the path to want to make amazing toys.
So we do have some other questions. One guy, one of our viewers, Oz Newton, wanted to know any guys going to be any anime figures like Inuyasha or Outlaw Star?
Oh my God! If I could do Cowboy Bebop or Inuyasha, I would love. I would set some new benchmarks for my own abilities. Very early on, after Street Fighter and after Mortal Kombat, Jazwares partnered with an anime distributor called Geneon. And through Geneon, we did figures for an anime called Samurai Champloo.
Oh, okay.
I fell immediately in love with the hip-hop representation, the out-of-the-box animated techniques they used, the overarching storyline. Here you have Jin and you have Mugen, and they hate each other, but through a promise to this young lady to find her father, the samurai that smells like sunflowers, that we know has absolutely no scent.
Mm-hmm.
I would love and would jump at the chance to do more anime toys. So on that line, we had a prominent McFarlane sculptor at the time who actually was a resident in South Florida. His name was Rocco, who sculpted all that stuff. And for us, our work on like Samurai or Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, other lines like Mega Man was very articulated focus. But the Samurai Champloo stuff is very statuesque because the aesthetic at that time was not as easily translatable as like recent companies like Good Smile that found this amazing mid-ground to make not only just 5-inch super articulated toys, but also the chibi stuff that they do with the Nendoroid stuff. So I would love to do it.
My only complaint with Good Smile is that price is getting not so good.
Absolutely. When
slow creep up.
an importation price and the factory, they have this video that they did that's like kind of like the behind the scenes and the making of a good smile figure. I would recommend that everybody watches it because it really explains the dent in your wallet at the end of the day. I mean, they actually have an entire factory that lives next to their home office where they do these kind of like test runs on all this stuff. And they invest incredibly in the quality. I mean, when you have a good smile figure, the texture on the plastic is special. You know, the amount of deco ops in the eyes and the interchangeable faces and all different things. It's like really inspirational stuff. But it's like being a Hot Toys collector or one of those.
Yeah, damn near.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how some people do it and also eat.
I was gonna say another question we've got is: any chance you guys getting the rights back for the Sonic figures?
That's probably one of the questions that I face daily. We would love it, but at the moment, I don't think there's any plans for it. The Sonic toys that are going into the market at the moment are tremendous, but at the same time, historically, I look at our line and I'm immensely proud of that work. And I owe, and the fans owe a lot of that work to one of our lead and design managers on the Fortnite line by the name of Xavier. And Xavier had a tremendous passion for the Sonic franchise and really worked around the clock to make those figures as great as they turned out.
You're actually battle armored up just for that question, right? That's the reason for that.
Sonic the Hedgehog is one of these, what they call an evergreen property. And it's like Mario or Star Wars and Sonic, I don't think has any end in sight. And hopefully we can jump back into that business at some point someday.
How about here's a good one.
Go ahead.
Any chance for Star Trek?
Joe.
And I have a personal stake in this.
I feel like some of my closest associates and myself included are to the core Trekkies, and I would love to see a future where Star Trek has that type of fan base that us being a mass market company would eventually like get into, and hopefully the work that we've done with like and some of the other action figure brands that we're working on, like AEW, that we use people like Gentle Giant, for instance, to help create, would give us the access to something like Star Trek. But Star Trek as a whole, I mean, you're dealing with actor likenesses, you're dealing with legacy, you're dealing with multiple generations of characters, etc. I think it's probably one of the most sophisticated but also underrated opportunities in action figures today.
Well, you just got to get a Klingon into Fortnite and just have a bat laugh be the harvesting tool. You're in there right there. That's all we need.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything to that end, but I would love to see it as much as the next guy.
That would be cool.
So of the Fortnite figures that you have, how do you guys? Who gets to decide, or how do you pick what the next ones are on deck?
That is the constant struggle. Fortnite as a game has a format that is basically 10-week-long seasons, and within one of those 10-week seasons, you have at minimum 33 characters introduced to the game. So, I mean, when you talk about spinning plates and you talk about managing both consumer expectations and the newness of the brand itself, I mean, that is the constant struggle. They're an extremely collaborative and giving licensor when it comes to the relationship. So they definitely have a very open dialogue with us. But at the same time, like Rustlord, for instance, is a character that was introduced in what they call the Battle Pass. And if you want to measure the success of a character in Fortnite, more often than not, that's going to be done financially because they have microtransactions, they have these ways that you can buy the characters through an item shop, etc. But Rustlord was basically like, if you buy the Battle Pass, you get Rustlord. So there's a feedback mechanism where we walk in as a team and we pitch a line and we say, like, we want X, Y, and Z characters, and then we're giving feedback, and then it becomes kind of a collaborative conversation. So
Okay.
Well, I know
Anything else?
Fortnite. I was gonna say Fortnite does a lot of those. These, like I said, like Rustlord, you said, is a Star-Lord homage of skirting around them. You know, Sentinel.
Mhm.
It's a short rooster as opposed to a tall geese. It's a Gundam.
Right. Like every character
use that
looks
one
like
for a while.
another character.
that's what I appreciate and love most about the game. I probably play the game more than anybody, and it's this slippery slope of fiction, of pop culture reference, and overall like a narrative that is, in especially in today's climate, that has become a platform. So, like you mentioned, the tail geese Gundam, that is the embodiment or the reference to the Sentinel character in Fortnite. And I would say that they're pretty much the experts when it comes to those pop culture references, understanding those notes and operating on not only just like a timely manner, but also like a trend, like understanding trends and setting trends, you know. Like we saw it with a character that was introduced in the Season 3 Battle Pass that was known as the Reaper. But the fans called the Reaper John Wick. And then very quickly, maybe 2 seasons after that, all of a sudden we had the real John Wick. And they framed it as, here's the Reaper versus John Wick. So like, it's one of those instances where they took a risk and they executed upon it. And then ultimately, that gave them access to something that may or may not have been an opportunity in the long run, but they capitalized on it.
Well, that kind of goes back to one of my earlier questions: is since John Wick was so popular, could Jazwares then make a John Wick via the Epic likeness using, you know, since Epic has it, Epic has the license for his look, using their CAD image, their stylization. Now all of a sudden I can have a John Wick in the middle, blowing my wild cards to smithereens
You know,
because they stepped on his dog's tail.
it would be better if there weren't as many John Wick action figures out there for an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like companies like Figma or like Bandai or even I think NECA have done amazing John Wick action figures. So for us, it would be better to focus a little bit more on a unique or an original opportunity. Because like let's say within the 4-inch line, a Stormtrooper is very, very redundant. Even though the Fortnite Stormtrooper looks a certain way, I personally own probably 150 Stormtroopers. So it would be something that I think would be within the realm of possibility, but as an opportunity, I don't know if it would have the longevity of doing something more like the fish stick from Atlantis that was introduced yesterday, you know?
Notice that most of these characters have like, they can do weapon storage. Is that a happy coincidence or an Easter egg?
It's a little bit of both. You know, the amount of accessories that is benchmarked for this line kind of sets expectations on this level, and that's when it comes to like when you're talking about the faceplates or interchangeable hands or the small, what we call in the game, consumables and stuff. Like more often than not, I have a bunch of action figures and I have like a pile of stuff, right? It's like small weapons and hands and all these different things. So it's a little bit of both, I would say, but at the end of the day, we are very aware of the fact that, like, the kid's going to get Havoc, like you just shown, and open the backseat of the car, and probably something might get lost, So something that we're cognizant of, and we have a very high standard for, but authenticity to the game, like if you have a harvester or you pull out a shotgun, it kind of like materializes from nowhere. So
I was going to say that you probably have to be strict to what the designs look like of the backpacks and whatnot, and you can't put extra hooks on there.
Exactly. I mean, the fans of Fortnite are extremely sophisticated, and for us, the authenticity to the brand is the ultimate. So at the moment, they have different things. So they rewrite the book. So they had backlings that were more or less just a backpack. And now, like through a couple evolutions, they had a character called Sky who resembles Link to a certain degree. And if you were awarded Sky's backbling, it had a sword in it. And it was an Easter egg that if you had Sky's sword and Sky's backbling and you draw the sword, it disappears from the backbling. And then from there, they built on that mythos and they said, okay, Captain America is coming to the game. But Captain America's shield is both what he would use to harvest materials and a backbling. So if you have Captain America, he draws his shield from his back and holds it in his hand. And that's something that they capitalized not only on their partnership with Marvel, but they used that as a way to introduce innovation.
That's clever.
It's one of these things that they are the experts, and it's kind of an ever-evolving story that I'm constantly blown away by their intuition and their foresight into these things.
That is genius.
So you've talked a little bit here and there about being a collector yourself. What do you collect right now? What are you into?
Oh man, I'm so into so much. My biggest passion at the moment, outside of the stuff that Jazwares produces, is the Mega Constructs, like tiny action figures. So the Ninja Turtles, the Star Trek stuff, the Halo stuff. Halo has a new game that's dropping, like I think today or tomorrow. Call of Duty stuff. There's so much in this tiny little package. I've never seen anything like it.
I've seen the Masters of the Universe of those.
Yeah, no, seriously, the Merman, the Beastman, they're tremendous. The Skeletor, I will buy any Skeletor that's set in front of me. I saw the stuff that they did for the Funimation stuff. It's incredible. And then historically, Marvel Legends is probably my slipperiest slope. The Toy Biz stuff especially, I think I have Series 1 through Series 8 out of and in package, including Build-A-Figures, all that different type of stuff.
Well, Dave, there's your Marvel Legends guy. So
I've got a few.
We can spell our own, absolutely. A couple.
Mega Constructs is definitely making sure you get as many Skeletors as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, and they do all these different things. Like they have a very sizable business with Dollar General, for instance, and you have blind boxes and blind bags and these things. I can spend $2 and get a Master Chief, and hopefully I'm getting a clear or a gold one. Like the access that they've done is, I think, revolutionary.
Have you messed with the Jazwares Halo figures?
No, unfortunately not. So contractually, I would say that Halo and Fortnite are direct competitors, so I'm very much siloed from all of those different conversations. But I
will end up having them fighting each other.
I would love to build a Master Chief cosplay someday.
So tell us then, one of the things when you approached us, you said you on your Twitch channel. Can you tell us about that? What you what it's about, what you do?
So again, I've had the benefit, and I would call myself the luckiest kid in multiple capacities. So we carved out a niche for ourselves as an action figure company very, very early. And it kind of built and built and built upon like IP after license after opportunity to the point where somewhere around 2013, we approached Minecraft, and we were granted the Master Toy license for Minecraft at that time. And for us, we looked at Minecraft as an opportunity, and we said, some people have never heard of this game. And if you look at what they had done until that point, they did not spend $1 on marketing for that brand. And we looked at that and said, well, where is the popularity coming from? And we very, very closely analyzed that. And what Minecraft did that was brilliant was they left their engine and their assets open to content creators. So you had guys like Dan TDM, Sky Does Minecraft, Ali A, all these guys that took the assets, ripped the models, created their own models, and made what we called back then machinimas, videos, content around like digital characterization, animation, and that played into my passion for content creation. We built an extremely lucrative and long-lasting partnership with Mojang and Minecraft, and from that opportunity, we then rolled into being the master partner for another game called Roblox. And Roblox is that whole thing, but within a platform that is exclusive to their audience. So you can jump onto Roblox.com and you have access to somewhere around the neighborhood of 3 million different user-generated games.
Geesh.
And again, that for me, that was everything. That was the Pandora's box. And at the time, not only was I into gaming, but I was into content creators like Casey Neistat, David Dobrik, and all these guys that do what they call like daily vlogging and YouTube videos, and the audience that Minecraft had built organically through that mechanism is something that I knew that I wanted to be a part of and I wanted to create. So, and getting kind of personal at the time, I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and my mom, most of my friends would call me, they'd be like, yo, your grandma answered the phone, like, what's up with her? But my mom had me when she was 41, and by the time I was approaching my 20s, she was upwards of 60, and then beyond that, like, during a very difficult time in my life, I moved into this condo here to take care of my mom. And during that time, I launched my own daily vlog, and it's under my name on YouTube. All that content is still there. I did a vlog every day for something around like 213 or 220 days. And that was like, A, the sunset of my mom's life, but also towards the end, B, the opportunity to pitch for Fortnite came up around that time. So if you look to that channel and you watch that content, you can see that kind of like that story unfold. So Fortnite is not only just a video game, but it's a content ecosystem where you have Twitch creators, you have YouTube creators, and all these different types of content creators that lean into Fortnite as a mechanism for content base, for community and that stuff. So myself, I have been more or less not only the showrunner, but also the brand ambassador, the sales ambassador for Fortnite. And Twitch just seems like a natural evolution of my own desire to create content. I love playing the game. I understand the value of the content that comes from just experiencing the game, because Fortnite, at the end of the day, is a lot more like a social media platform than it is a video game. even though it has a competitive side to it. And I knew that that was something that I wanted to invest in. And especially now during the pandemic and all these different things, growing up, I was one of these like nerdy outcasts. I was a skateboarder. I wanted to be a comic book artist. I had a very small group of friends that I invested tremendously in. And during the current climate, I've been, isolation suits me perfectly. When it comes to like, I'm a workaholic, I invest, like I could play Fortnite 24 hours a day if I was allowed to. And my social life became very isolated. I fell into things like depression. I'm a divorcee and I have 2 kids, live in different states, et cetera, et cetera. So Twitch became, for me, a social outlet and a way for me to connect with people that were experiencing the same type of isolation that I experienced. So it's something that I hold very dear. It's something that I invest a lot of my personal time into, but it's also my main philosophy is you elevate yourself by elevating the people around you. And since I started my Twitch, my community is tremendous. I am, again, the luckiest kid. Like, one of my community members made this sign for me back here, the Rep Agent sign, because he was and he is a sign engineer. He works within the 3D space, and he works with a commercial company that does that type of thing. Just beneath that, you have a prominent toy photographer called Toy Spell, and he created one of my stream intros that's like the Rustlord character and all these different types of branding. I connected with a 14-year-old comic book creator from San Diego who has just an infinite amount of story and an infinite amount of creativity. So for me, the Twitch platform is basically my social outlet. It's my friendship mechanism. And in a time when I'm scared to go to Publix, I'm scared to pump gas into my car, it's a way that I can interact and bond with people. And I really hope that ultimately all of us here can become friends through this. Like, I'm here because you guys wanted to know a little bit about it, but I see this as a beginning of all of us, again, to like partner and to nurture creativity and to drive ourselves forward into an uncertain future.
Yeah, like you said, it's important to stay connected, especially now.
I mean, this week in particular is huge for me. This is my first week where I have transitioned off of antidepressants. This, for me, is a tremendous point because I see the people around me elevating their own goals, and I will do nothing other than support their initiatives and their ambitions because I believe in them, and they've supported me in a way that was unexpected to me, and I have had like a tremendous amount of traction in a very short amount of time because of their generosity and their authenticity and their friendship. So.
Yeah, especially when you have, like you said, good people that connect with you, that are around you, that you keep near you, and it makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it all kind of springs from Fortnite. So Fortnite, again, as a social media, is a place where you have people that play solitarily, and that's what they call through the solo mode of the game. But when you get into duos and squads and rumbles, so I'm live streaming right now as we're doing this interview, and I have people in this stream that are like amazingly talented Fortnite players. Like the guy who made my sign, his name is Jeff Lull. He plays Fortnite, but he plays it with his family. He has his son that plays, his youngest son that plays, his daughter that plays, his wife that plays. It was his birthday on Friday, they entered a local tournament and they placed third. You know, it's like they have this tremendous passion and they have this tremendous gift, and I really hope that their willingness to interact with me and support me, that I can reciprocate that in some small measure and help them to grow in some way or another.
Yep, absolutely. So, Dave, have we seen anything? Any other questions for him in the chat?
I was told to say that Josh says hi.
Oh, what's up, Josh? Way too many donuts. So, Josh is, again, something that is just beginning to get traction through the legacy of the line. And if you look at Josh's work, Josh is an action figure customizer. And I would consider myself an action figure customizer. And what Josh does is he takes figures like Dragon Ball most particularly, and he improves things like articulation. He repaints characters. Like he took the Doom action figure that McFarlane did, and he added upper bicep swivels and thigh swivels, and then all of a sudden you have this incredibly dynamic, photo-worthy piece. And this is just something that he does. He'd do it whether or not we were friends. He'd do it whether or not I was the Fortnite guy. And like when he took like my 4-inch Omega figure, he was like, this could be better. Like, let me do something to this. Like, that to me is the ultimate compliment, right? And I applaud him for doing that. He takes a lot of risks on his Instagram. You know, he's a young kid that puts himself out there and is not afraid to speak his mind. And I'm really thrilled that he reached out to me through you guys. So that's some, as much as I hate buzzwords, that's some synergy happening. You know?
Yep, connecting however possible, right? Your stream, our show, whatever, it's all good.
Well, these are
one of our
times, you know, and we have a lot of challenges still ahead. And for us to keep ourselves and our family and our loved ones safe, this is the most responsible way for us to be social and to interact and to support each other. So I really hope that this is the start of something long term, and I applaud you guys for providing content in a time when, like, if I go to Netflix right now, there's nothing that piques my interest. I've already watched everything on Amazon Prime, but this format is extremely fluid. You have an interaction. You guys have actually a very broad team with multiple types of interests, and I can't thank you guys enough for this opportunity.
Yeah, we are super glad that you decided to reach out to us, and you know, I think we've had a great time, especially hearing your story and your journey, and you speak very passionately about your job and your figures that you work on. It's just good to hear that the people that make these things, that these physical representations, care so much. You know, that's I think what we all look for and can tell when we get a piece that just kind of is crap because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of passion in it. But then that is 100% not what we're getting here, man. Like you are in it all the way, and we love that.
I need my fair amount of crap too, so thank you for recognizing where we're at today. I definitely appreciate that, you know.
Definitely.
And to hear you guys and to see you guys hold up the figures here on the live stream, it means everything to somebody like me. Yeah, dude, like that. Like that drift, yeah. And oh my God, Keely, oh my God.
Yeah, I love that his jacket could come off. When I seen the jacket, I was like, oh, he's not going to be able to move. But then I kept scrolling through the pictures, and I was like, yes, it comes off.
and you have it before even I do. You know, that's one of these things that moving at breakneck speed. But to see
he's got a guy. He's got a guy.
That somebody who cares means so much more than walking into my spare bedroom and seeing a pile of figures and packaging. So thank you for the support. You know, I cannot say that enough. And I really hope that I can continue to, and Jazwares can continue to impress upon you guys the capabilities of action figures.
Very cool.
Yep, we appreciate it, man. So everybody can go check out his Twitch channel, Wrecked Agent, and I've got a link in the description below.
It does come off.
The epic reveal.
No, and thanks for bearing with me. This week being San Diego Comic-Con, I'm a cosplayer. I've always believed in the community and ultimately fans being fans and fans connecting with like-minded people. So I wanted to do this. I know it's a little bit of a curveball to the content, but San Diego a year ago, so Jazwares had been on a waiting list to get into Comic-Con for more than a decade.
Wow.
And it's such an exclusive opportunity where we had the benefit of like one of our higher ups, his name is George Vorkas, who had a long lasting friendship with some of the guys at Gentle Giant, where we had this dream come true scenario where all of a sudden we were sharing a booth space with Gentle Giant. And I was there, and it was our first time there in more than 10 years. And the fact that COVID-19 caused it not to be a thing this year.
Yeah.
And today being the day that it kind of all kicked off and we have a virtual presence there, I definitely wanted to jump in with both feet and be a cosplayer for a little bit, because if I show up to my in-law, if I show up to my family, like if I show up to my girlfriend's house in cosplay, well, my girlfriend would probably accept it, but anybody else,
The rest might be iffy.
At least you're being like socially distant, or you have a mask on.
That was one of the comments we got.
My wife would
yeah,
probably
man.
tell me to leave the helmet on.
Even after the pandemic, right?
I'm a lot more attractive with the helmet on. So thank you guys so much.
And again, man, we really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Man. We wish you all the best with your Twitch channel, and I hope to hear from you again, man. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I do all kinds of stupid stuff.
So do we.
So do we.
I feel like we can smell our own. So again, let's be friends more than anything else. Do hit me up on the gram and introduce yourselves, and I'll try not to spam you with like crazy shit, but I probably will.
We're used to it.
We like new product information.
Oh yes.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
We'll see you, man.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
We're still here.
We are still here, and that was very cool.
Yes.
Very neat insight on the Jazwares Fortnite division, at least. And it's kind of cool what goes on to the unique relationships with Epic and them.
Yeah, and I wanted to get kind of a one man's journey kind of thing, because it's such a niche job that like I said to him, that we would probably be a lot of people in the community that would be very interested in getting their hands on one way or another. So it was interesting to hear how he got there and sort of the ins and outs. And he definitely spoke very passionately about everything he worked on and is a part of, which is, God, that's what you hope for.
I didn't ask him about Cabbage Patch Kids.
Well, you can hit him up on the Instagram, he said. So you can follow up with him. You had to ask him about the hands, though. As soon as you started thinking, like, do you design? I'm like, oh, here he goes. I know what you wanted to say.
No, I promise people.
Don't you want your figures to hold their weapons? But really, when it comes down to it, that's one of the.
No.
That's the.
I'm happy to know that he knows. So I'm pretty sure, hopefully, if they're anything like McFarlane and Hasbro, they'll find something to do. Like, I hear that if I did want to pull these off, Marvel Legends hands could pop in there, from what I hear. So if all they have to do is just make them easier to pop off and give them some static hands, and we'll be good to go. I'll sacrifice 2 accessories for that.
Life finds a way.
Yes.
You know, it's funny you said that about the hands. I got to thinking I know there's a bunch of different base bodies for Marvel Legends, but there's 1 or 2 that get used all the time, right? Like the Bucky cap and
that teenage female body.
Yeah. it made me wonder, like, why would someone on Shapeways or a 3D printing site not, if they're more or less standard fit, why wouldn't you just go and offer on your shop a gamut of all kinds of hands?
Because they'd be too brittle.
I mean,
you're asking? They're too the Shapeway stuff. It'd be too brittle.
Well, wherever wherever you somehow, I don't know.
Use better equipment.
I'll tell you, like, I got a fixed piece for my Generations Windblade from Shapeways, and I think that would be just fine as a hand. I mean, that material. But
the peg,
I guess. I don't know. You see what I'm saying, though. I think there's plenty of opportunity there for aftermarket accessories for stuff like that. But
or if you just have enough, if you have enough Marvel Legends, you have enough hands.
Pretty much.
Reusing them, though.
I never ever think about that, but I don't have as many as Dave, but I have a butt ton of Marvel Legends, and their hands can be interchangeable unless they have Spider-Man webs on them.
Right.
That's pretty much it. But it's like if you got one Shang Tsung or an Iron Fist, you have yourself a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. He's actually right beside me.
Yeah, great figure. But that was definitely a cool episode. I think.
And Joe had an emergency, by the way, people that are still here.
Once he heard that Star Trek wasn't happening, he was gone. No,
he rage quit. Yeah.
He rage quit in Fortnite.
This was actually cool.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You're gonna wear off the paint around the shoulders if you haven't already, but he's pretty cool.
Which hey,
kind of already had it.
Where can we find a review of that later?
We can find a review of this guy probably by next week on T-Man978 on YouTube. No dashes, no space. T-Man978. And you can find me on social media through all the links in the descriptions. Always look at the links in my description. Sometimes I'll put magical, weird stuff down there for you to read. But yeah.
Easter eggs. You have to say the end of your videos too, because more often than not, you throw something in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dave, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at TrueStarscreamer. You can find me on my Facebook page of Dave the Grillmeister, which I need to get some more cooks up there. And on the PlayStation Network at TrueStarscreamer, and here every Thursday with most of these fine gentlemen. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Show me your moves. I don't know. He reminds me of Captain Falcon. I know he reminds me of Captain Falcon because of his outfit.
That's not even the right franchise. T, go to bed.
And he has a Falcon punch. So that show the characters remind me of video games. So I know they were influenced by video games.
As long as he doesn't go to North Carolina and throw his hands up.
I haven't finished the season of that show yet because they were so late on the dubs. I forgot all about it.
Well, Matt, once we find out where you're at, you can catch up on those. So, Matt, where are you at?
That sounds like a
novel idea.
My name is Parsfor, but you're going to find me pretty much anywhere you type that word. I even have my own entry for Transformers Wikipedia on the TFW page. But Parsformer on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Instagram, and here Thursday nights with these guys. We hope you guys enjoy the interview episodes. We try to reach out and differentiate ourselves from other podcasts by getting some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and talking with people that are clearly passionate about what they do for some unique perspectives. So we continue to do them as they come up. We try to get some folks on here. We send out, try to see who we can entice.
We might have another one coming soon, right?
We might have 2 more coming soon. But
I really like that.
But we'll see. So we'll wrap up. We'll let you guys have your evening back. This has been a Figure Action production, care of Nate's Toys and Collectibles on Facebook. Hit him up. He's got some good stuff and good prices. But thanks for coming out, guys. We will end it now and see you guys next week.
Good night. Bye.